All right, so I'm Dave Colmeyer. I am the problem solver. So this is Judy. Judy, the reason why I brought you on here today, because people that call me with different problems, I try to help. I'm not an attorney. I'm a retired police officer. I was a cop for 17 years, and I've been around the block in Henderson in New York City. So I wanted to basically just have a conversation, one for awareness for other people to basically hear our conversation. Tell us what happened in general with your situation. Basically, you had a consumer situation with a place where you brought your car, and tell us the story.
September 6th, I was having issues with my battery. I took my dog to the dog groomer, and there my car died. And I tried calling a few people for help, couldn't, but Perfect Auto was in walking distance, same shopping center. I've heard bad things, but they were there. I couldn't
Was the
get
battery
help.
was the battery totally dead?
I don't really know.
Okay,
I
so
really
problem
don't
with the
know.
battery.
So I went in, figured how bad can a battery thing be? They told me it would take about 30 minutes to do a battery, and then later quoted about $702 for $500 for the battery, $200 for labor. And I'm like, that's outrageous, but I couldn't get anyone to answer a phone to help go anywhere else for a battery. So I conceded to buy the battery. Told a 30-minute job. Several hours later, my car is on a lift. And I keep asking the young man, why is my car on a lift when it's a battery? And the kid would shrug his shoulders. Finally, again, I'm like, honey, you said 30 minutes. It's been 3 hours. Why is my car on a lift? Well, maybe they have to do it from underneath. And I'm like, something's not right. Now, mind you, this was a day I was in excruciating pain. I back issues. I was in pain, doubled over on the floor at times, crying in pain. They knew this. They also knew I'd been trying to call for help, so they had me over a barrel. They kept pushing me off until almost clothing. Then came out and said, well, you need an alternator, and we'll combine the battery, the alternator, all this for around $3,000. And I said, well, let's go ahead and order the alternator. No, you have to pay everything up front. And I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense to pay everything up front. But they would not take my car from the lift until I paid up front. So they would basically help my car hostage. And then Sunday, I tried calling to cancel.
Quick question. Originally, with the battery situation, you needed the battery. You gave the okay to change it out for the $700,
I gave,
right?
yeah.
Okay. So $700 basically, you agree to that. And then what happened? The car's on the lift, right?
Right.
And then what happens next?
They're telling me I need a new alternator.
Okay, new alternator. And did they say how much that was?
Well, yeah, by the time I did the alternator and the battery, the fee was going to be about right at $3,000, $3,074.
How much was the alternator?
They were charging me $1,621 for an alternator.
You know what's a weird situation? Like, I'm not a big mechanic guy in general. It just seems like a lot of money for alternator. What kind of car is it?
It's a Buick. It's a nothing car.
What year is the car?
21.
2021 Buick. What kind of Buick?
Envision.
Envision. Okay. Now, I know technology have changed. Have you been using ChatGPT at all you know what ChatGPT is?
I just discovered it.
Okay.
I've just discovered it.
You know, it's interesting because, I mean, to me with technology, have you been speaking to ChatGPT? Do you know that you could speak to? A lot of people don't know that you could speak to.
I just, like I said, just discovered it a few weeks ago. So
Okay.
this is brand new.
So let's just
to me.
try this here in general. Okay, so I'm asking ChatGPT, 2021 Buick Envision, how much is the average alternator? What would it normally cost?
I do not know. I
For
can
a
live on it.
2021 Buick Envision, the cost of a replacement alternator typically can range quite a bit depending on where you get it done. On average, you're probably looking at somewhere between about $400 to $800. That includes both the parts and the labor. If you're just looking at the part itself, the alternator might cost a few $100s, and then labor can vary depending on the shop rates.
Wow.
You need more details.
So it truly is amazing with technology, right? I'm just giving the question and you have the answer. So you're saying it was going to be $1,621. ChatGPT, which is great to like use that now with technology. And again, people are using ChatGPT. Like, I don't even use it as much as, I'm learning myself, right? Because it's new. But definitely, clearly, it looked like they were basically trying to take advantage of you at least $1,000.
Right.
Okay, so basically, when they tell you about the alternator and they tell you about the $621, what do you tell them?
I told him, I said, let me just pay the deposit to order the part. No.
Order the part of the alternator.
And no, I had to pay everything up front. And I said, since when do we pay for everything before services are done?
Okay.
But they would not give me my car unless I did. I was in pain. Went home, paid. Monday morning, they opened at 8. 8:30 I called. He answers. I said, I need to cancel the job. And before I said cancel, he said, oh, I was just getting ready to order your part. And I said, well, I called perfect timing because I need to cancel. And he got angry and said a few choice words. And why are you doing this? I'm explaining my finances. And he said, well, I should at least charge you a restock fee. And I said, but you just said you didn't order the part. So why is there a restock? And he gets ugly and starts cursing. I said, I'll come in, pay for the battery. If you can't reverse, I'll just pay for the battery. We'll just wipe it clean.
Okay.
No, you're paying everything. At that, when he cursing more, I hung up, called my bank, put stop payment. Last I heard. Now I'm thinking they'll call me, bill me for the battery. I owe them that. I know I owe them that, and offered to pay that. But in November, I got a letter from Wells Fargo stating that they were reimbursing Perfect for the $3,000 because I canceled too late.
Who is reimbursing?
Wells Fargo, my debit card.
Debit card.
So I let them know, no, I canceled Monday morning. Service wasn't to be performed until Wednesday, the 10th. How is that too late? Okay. Now December, they've taken it up. Perfect has taken it up another level.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wells Fargo notifies me they're reimbursing because Perfect has shown they completed all services the date of transaction. Date of transaction, September 6th, Saturday. According to paperwork that I did not receive until this last Sunday from Wells Fargo, shows that AutoZone received an order at 12:44 p.m. to order the alternator on Saturday the 6th. But in it, it says not available until the 9th of September. So if it's not available, there's an impossibility it couldn't have been completed on the 6th as they presented to Wells Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
But still, there was perfect time to cancel it. Perfect keeps changing their reason why I owe them money. It was thrown at me, well, you signed a contract. Well, the contract is not a contract bound to service. It is, what do you call, estimate. It's an estimate fee is what the contract is.
Mm-hmm.
It does say that they will not reimburse specialty parts. An alternator is not a specialty part. So there's nothing binding. But everything they presented to Wells Fargo, they claim they did in full. No, they never had the car. They had the car. They did not have the part on Saturday to have completed it on the date of transaction, as they tell Wells Fargo.
Mm-hmm.
It's been up and down. Perfect Auto, I have called, the police have called, the news media, different people on my behalf. And it's funny, Perfect Auto never seems to know who I am, anything about me. Well, you're going to have to give me an invoice number because I show nothing that she's ever been to our store. That's with everybody but Wells Fargo. Now, isn't it amazing how instantly they can give Wells Fargo above and beyond to get money? But when it comes to explaining and defending, I don't exist. Another thing in my research, I've had 170 people come up on social media complaining about abuse, bait and switch, sabotage, lines being cut, hose lines being cut, literally sabotage from this company. We are not talking sticker shock as News 13 presented. This is bait and switch, abuse, manipulation, coercion, signing under duress at its fullest. Abuse after abuse after abuse. And people are being taken for everything through this company. And like I said, I have 170 comments. I went on the Valle Verde location, pulled up 20 comments. One...
I mean the reviews.
One with almost identical date, same time frame. At first, I thought I was reading about my car.
Okay.
And then I realized, oh my gosh, no, this is someone else going through almost identical. So this is a pattern of behavior. I've noticed at least 2 or 3, when they get someone like me who doesn't back down, all of a sudden management changes the store. Everything gets shifted. And why do they do this? Because that way, legally, when someone comes in, they're not lying. I know nothing about this customer. They're not lying. They don't. But Perfect Auto shifts management and staff to prevent anybody from knowing anything. It's a pattern of deception. But it's the fact that they even told the police, well, we will reimburse the $645 for labor, but she has to come and pay $2,000 for the part, the alternator. She'll have to pick it up and buy it. I have to buy an alternator when I already paid someone else half the price to do it. But at any rate, and they wanted to charge me $2,000. Yet on their form it was $1,621.
Okay.
So there again, that's $400 more. But I was told after News 13 did their little article on sticker shock that a check to reimburse what they owed me would be available. I went Friday to pick it up.
Who's the one that said that?
Shakira.
From the news?
Hawkins, yeah. Shakira and Hawkins said there would be a check available for me at Perfect.
What channel was she with?
She's with News 13.
News 13, okay.
And she, at any rate, Perfect Auto called Thursday. 2 different people telling me they had a check available.
Did she tell you what she did? That she went down there, or like what happened?
They went down there, and it was supposed to be, again, the harassment. And then she called and said, well, we're going to do this as a consumer awareness. Not the point that you wanted, but a consumer awareness. Well, I thought that's fair enough, consumer awareness. I did not know she was going to make me look the fool for sticker shock. And I've had people call, Judy, you went to the news over sticker shock? I'm like, dude, am I really that stupid? I mean, am I going to go and complain?
Did you ever talk to her about why was it sticker shock when it's not?
Oh, she's not returned my messages now. She's not returning my calls now.
Shakira Hawkins,
yeah.
Channel 13.
But it's
not sticker shock.
No, it's not sticker shock at all. It was abuse and hostage and making me sign under duress.
How many times have you called her back?
I quit calling after Friday. I messaged her Friday when I went to pick up the check to let her know, you didn't tell me I was going to have to sign a waiver. But when I went to pick up
you called her because about the waiver?
Right. Well, I called because I went in. There was a woman and 2 men definitely trying to strong-arm me. And I said, I understand you have a check. And they threw out a piece of paper, and they kind of kept part of it covered. And I said, what is this? And they said, well, you have to sign it if you want your check. And I'm looking at all these zeros, and I said, so you're giving me a very vague general receipt to sign without understanding of what I'm signing for to get a check you owe me. Well, if you want the check, you have to sign it. And I said, but I don't even know what the check amount is. Well, I said, what's the check amount? Well, it's in a sealed envelope. I don't know. I said, then open it because I need to know what the check's for. Well, I can't. You have to. And I said, then let me open it. No, you can't open it until you leave the store. And I said, you want me to sign for a check that I have no idea if there's really even a check in this envelope? Why am I signing this paper? Because we need to show proof you received payment. And I said, well, really, when I cash the check, that's your proof I received payment. So no, I don't need to give you a signature. Well, then you can't have the check. But thankfully, I took a picture of the form they wanted to sign. It is not for reimbursement. Yes, reimbursement is stated, and it was $87 short. And they claimed that was a bank error, not theirs. But it is a silence waiver to keep me quiet. They don't want me mentioning their name.
Did you come up with silence waiver? Is that what? Who came up with the word silence waiver?
Did.
I never heard that.
I did.
I like that.
I called it a silence waiver. They're trying to hush my mouth, keep my voice quiet. And I said, no, I will not sign this, and I will see you in court. And I let the lady in the waiting room know, watch your back, they will screw you. And went and sat in my car, made a few phone calls. They stood out and watched me. And then finally, a gentleman came out with $90 cash and a check and said, I will give you $90 cash and a check if you will sign the waiver or the paper. And I said, but what am I signing? And he said, it's a receipt that you got payment. And I started laughing at him. And I said, honey, you and I both know cashing the check is your receipt. You are wanting to silence me, and I will not be bought. And I said, but for that matter, I said, if you want to silence me, couldn't you have padded the check a little bit and given me extra? I mean, you're not even offering to buy my silence. You're shortchanging me and wanting to give you my silence. No, your abuse doesn't get this. And so a few people, he got mad and walked off, and I left. But a few people, having seen the news thing, were like, but Judy, it was sticker shock. And so I'm letting them know why, if this were a matter of sticker shock, wouldn't they have just simply said, look at that foolish old lady and laughed me out of the store? Truly, wouldn't they just laugh me out of the store? But they're needing me to sign a silence waiver. And I have pulled up so many complaints, so many concerns of people being taken advantage of, rolled over, bait and switch, people held hostage just like me. That, no, this is not a little thing. This is not just a Judy having a temper tantrum at Perfect Auto. This is much bigger. And I only pulled up reviews on one store. I can't imagine what's out there with all the others added up. But I'm concerned. $3,000 is a month's wages for me. That is more than my rent. And for some people, this kind of money would put them on the streets in a box. For some people, it's going to cause a relapse of drug or alcohol. And other people, this kind of money will put a bullet in their head.
So let's just recap where we are right now. When you left, you never took the check because they wanted to silence your waiver.
No, they refused to give it to me.
We spoke about that. And you also used a document preparation location to help you do the...
We're filing small claims.
Small claims court as well. Okay. So I guess a few things. So has anyone, since you left that location, you didn't accept the check because they basically wanted you to sign a waiver where it basically states that you can't talk about it in public and stuff like that in general. Has anyone called you or texted you or anything?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing.
So they just let it go?
No.
Okay. And have you used this place before? Is this the first time you used it?
To my knowledge, I haven't used them.
Okay. So to go over a few things in general, so remember, I'm not an attorney, I'm not giving you specific legal advice, but what's interesting is when people call me with different problems, I try to be creative in regards to different resources that are basically out there where a lot of people don't know. So the first thing basically comes down to, I know when you gave me a call, I know you were trying to do the small claims court. Small claims court is up to 10 grand. Someone recently said it just recently changed. We have to double check on that. No matter what your claim is, how much is the total loss right now?
Right now, I am debited in my bank account for the tune of $3,000. They took out $3,074. So I am in the hole right now with my bank.
Now, I know you used the document preparation location. Now, how much did that cost you?
That was $850.
$850, okay. So long story short, you're almost at like $4,000. Now, someone mentioned in small claims court that you can't get back the fees for like legal services or the document preparation, which is interesting. I would still personally include it to see what a judge says in general.
Right.
Also, the time and that you spend back and forth, right? Time is money.
But you've got to realize, I also spent $1,000 at another mechanic to get the alternator done.
Get it fixed. How's the car going now?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's great. And the other
at least you have the car and it's working.
The other alternator only cost $323.
Okay. So I guess I'm going to go over a few things in general, just for like yourself and for other consumers in general, like what I would do basically. So the first thing basically is when you have these problems, I think with ChatGPT, it works out well, where you basically draft an email and you send the email to the place, explaining the situation and asking how you could recover it. And then when you send the email, you also could take that and print it out by letter and send it by regular mail and then also certified mail. Because if it comes up in the future from a judge or anyway, look, I sent a regular mail, I send an email, and I also did certified mail. So at least you cover yourself in regards to communication, because if they receive the letter, say, I didn't receive it, well, you got certified mail and you basically didn't receive you'll have their green card that they sign off on. So at least you can explain to the judge, look, I've tried to communicate. I've sent them an email. I've sent them a text if you're texting, with the person. I've sent them an email and I've got certified mail. So I've done everything I possibly could do. I think that's important. Then see if they basically give them like, try to give them a 14-day window to respond back or 30 days, stuff like that. In regards to the, so that's the email as a consumer email in regards. And then also I think for small claims court, which you can do whether you try to do it yourself or have someone that's a document preparation location. Now, I will share with you, there is a program which is legal protection, which is called Legal Shield. Legal Shield is basically literally for yourself or a family, it's either $30 a month or $38 a month. Normally, Legal Shield has a law firm in town that would contact the this particular body shop, repair shop, and then try to communicate with them or send them letters too.
Well, they told me right now, because I had already filed small claims, they would not take me on with that.
Correct. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the problem with this is one of the problems is that people don't know when you need legal protection
Right.
until it happens.
Right.
So the truth is, someone like yourself and other people for literally $1 a day, you can have legal protection by using that Legal Shield membership, which I am for, especially because a lot of people call me with these small problems, and the problem is it's like too late.
Right,
Because
right,
now if
right.
you contacted a lawyer,
Right.
a lawyer's gonna say, "Hey, I want $2,500. I
Right,
want $1,500,
right,
which is expensive." A document preparation location, right, could be between $500 and $1,000, which is cheaper, and at least you're getting some support and some legal help, even though they can't give you specific legal advice. But they could do the document preparation work and help you through small claims court. But that's one issue. The next one is also Better Business Bureau. Now, that was a big deal back in the day, the Better Business Bureau. I'm not really sure. I mean, I would follow through and see if you can make a complaint through the Better Business Bureau. And it's been a long time since I've actually played with that. But it'd be interesting to follow through with the Better Business Bureau. The next one is normally there's sometimes consumer complaints to like the Attorney General's office,
And
where
I'm
they're
in the works
defrauding
with
people
that
and
right
stuff like
now.
that as well.
I am in the works with
So that's
that.
consumer complaints. The other thing is also by leaving a review about your experience on Google and Yelp. Normally, if it was my business, I would call you back and say, "Hey, I'm so sorry about the situation. I'm so sorry you left a review. Can we work this out and try to work out a deal? Because I don't want that bad review on my social media page or my Google business profile."
And I will tell you, looking at their reviews, almost, I would say 85% of the negative reviews, the response from Perfect is, "I'm sorry, we don't show that you were a customer at our location."
Oh, is that what they respond back?
That's the way they
on
are
the review.
responding on social media,
Got
on their review page, on Yelp and Google.
And that is common, but I think most people, if they keep seeing that, they realize it's a problem, right? In general. So, yes, review is important if it's very, very detailed. And then these days you could upload photos as well,
Right.
You could show, well, I'm not a customer. Well, here's the invoice. Here's the estimate. You can share that information. So that's basically review basis as well, and uploading photos. What else is there? Reviews, we talked about that. The other thing also, we talked about small claims court, which I think at this point in time, you're at that stage where you're going to have to show, you got all the paperwork, like you're basically going to trial here, which is sad to say you have to take it this far, but this is where you're at. So small claims where you're at. The other thing also is that you can technically right now, if you wanted to, and you can send a letter saying like, "Look, I see that we can't resolve the situation. I'm willing to go to mediation."
I
Now,
offered.
Clark County has the
offered.
neighborhood justice program. It's a free mediation, but they have to agree to
Yeah,
it.
they
What did they
declined.
say? They
They
declined.
declined.
Did they decline by email or by?
Oh no, she
on the phone?
wouldn't- No, this was the new manager, and I said, she just kept saying, "We don't know anything about you. We did all the work on Saturday. We did everything Saturday." And there again, their stories keep changing on everything. There are some time discrepancies that I question, but I cannot prove because the bank conveniently doesn't keep time snapshots of these transactions. But I've got enough other evidence showing there are discrepancies in their story that are concerning. And, still, even with the amount that they were charging me, Perfect Auto at the $3,074, when you look down at everything that from AutoZone, what they paid AutoZone, we're still over $1,000 difference. Where'd that $1,000 disappear to? Because I'm not seeing justification in some of these numbers. I'm not seeing it. Where do they justify that discrepancy between what they paid AutoZone for parts, what they were charging me for parts?
So the next thing basically is at this point in time, we talked about the mediation. They don't want to do that as well. So you're basically covering all these things. But what's amazing is that there are a lot of things to basically do in this process, which is basically someone trying to take advantage of you or consumer fraud. And I've always been told as well, I mean, I've heard these different body shops that are out there or repair shops that, the truth is if you're not a mechanic, you don't know what pipe or what thing they're cutting a wire or something. And it does seem like in the past, I mean, I'm here 24 years, I've heard these different horror stories where they're trying to take advantage of people. And it's a perfect example. A lot of these places offer like a smog test for $9.99.
That's them.
And then they start telling you
That's them.
basically that they have
That's
50 things
them.
wrong.
That-
So it makes me nervous. And even my father told me one day he went to one place and he's like, I spent $4,000. I'm like, what did you do?
Right.
And most people also that are getting older, they're just willing just to not argue and they have a little bit of extra money and stuff like that. And they are being taken advantage of. It's a very sad situation. So I urge anybody that you need to go to a reputable place. But I will share with you, a lot of times when you go to a regular shop, like if it's Honda, Hyundai, their main shops, sometimes they're higher price, but
Right,
I do
right.
believe there's more integrity
Right,
when you go to a
right,
dealership than
right.
when you go into these smaller
Right,
places.
right.
And nothing against these small mom and pop
Right,
places,
right.
but it does seem that some of them that are out there are giving the other places a bad name by
Well,
charging and
Perfect is not a
overcharging.
mom and pop place, that's for sure.
Well, it's more of a franchise, right?
Yeah, and but I do know that yes, like you say, the older generation. But from what I'm reading on reviews, I will say I see a targeted audience of women, seniors, and pretty much broken English-speaking people. I'm not going to say they're immigrants. Their English is broken.
Okay.
So they seem to have an audience that they think won't understand them, what they're doing. An older generation that, hey, they probably have money, but women don't know anything weak and roller.
So you think women and older and people that don't speak English as their first language is being more of the victim?
Are more of a targeted victim is what I'm seeing just on the reviews that I'm reading. I could be wrong.
I think it's so tough because even if you did like a sting operation, I think they've done these things before where they went in and how much the bill is and stuff like that, that they get this crazy bill. But, unless you have cameras all over the place, how are you going to know if they cut a wire or
And
not?
why would I think to video what time they lifted my car, take time frames? Why would I think to do all that?
So have you, right now, at this point in time, you're basically going to court. And then did you already submit paperwork for getting a court date? Is there a court date already set?
She's
working
it's
on
not
that?
set yet, but we filed.
Okay.
It was filed, and Perfect never responded.
Okay.
We do know that reception was shown by the post office, but Perfect did not follow through on their part of that acknowledgement. And so, yes, we are advancing it to the next stages. So maybe after Christmas, we might get a court date.
So we'll have you come back as well just to basically see what the situation resolves in, but I think more for consumer awareness. And that it's not definitely the sticker shock. The sticker shock is more like it's sticker shock coming from basically fraudulent activity because of what they're basically doing. Not sticker shock of just that you're all of a sudden getting a price shock. They really are trying to take advantage of you. It's very clear, especially I think these days, people, doesn't matter what age, I think they should be using ChatGPT or getting second estimates and saying, hey, I do not approve any work until, written agreement, and stuff like that. Most people just don't think that way these days. And look, I've been taken advantage of as well when sometimes things sound a lot better than it does. And these days, I think signing these contracts for long-term contracts is a problem.
And I would suggest, too, on the paperwork I got from them for the battery initially and then the alternator battery combo, there were no item numbers, no part names, just general battery alternator. And it said, you're charging me $500 for a battery. How can I prove you gave me a $500 battery? You just said battery. You didn't give me a name brand, nothing. Too vague, too general. And that is where they're able to take advantage of people, by not giving you details of what they're providing. But they seem to have all that evidence for Wells Fargo.
So I'm sorry you're going through this situation. We'll keep in touch with you as well, but I'm glad to actually have some, social media clips and the podcast where we can kind of share maybe with the different parts of the community so that they are aware from different locations and they need to have things in writing and make sure there's approval. And these days, honestly, it's kind of crazy, but with your phone, I feel like these days you have to just kind of video record yourself. They basically have you literally have to,
Isn't
you
that
walk
a
into
shame
place.
We have to do that?
You have to have a camera basically on you so you have agreement. Say, look, I have you on film before you go into a body shop or a repair shop as well. So I'm sorry you're going through the mess. I mean, I'm glad that you're organized. You got everything basically together in general. You have a document preparation, location helping, which is great. There's an alternative. I do believe someone like yourself and other people need that legal protection, which is like Legal Shield is the only thing that I know of that's out there helping people with a very cheap, affordable way of getting legal help. I personally think that if you would have had the Legal Shield membership, that you probably didn't need the document preparation. But I think that they're great as well. They're using King Solutions, which is great. Shout out to King Solutions. That's basically helping you through this mess of a situation, getting through it. They're a great place, and I know they're a document preparation location that's 5-star. They're best of Las Vegas. So I think you're in good hands with King Solutions, and Kimberly King is the owner. So I do know her, and I do vouch for her as a retired police officer going above and beyond helping people. So with that said, we'll see what happens with this situation. But I appreciate you coming on The Problem Solver and sharing awareness. Some people wouldn't want to come on, but at least that we're sharing awareness. And even if 10 or 20 or 30 people see this and they're more aware of the consumer fraud that could take place. If anybody is protected
from this, that's bottom line. That's all I want. I don't want anybody else to go through stress and pain of this kind of thing. There's too much going on in the world that's negative.
Okay, well, that being said, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk back in the near future. And And as usual, as the problem solver, I'm always here to basically help and kind of guide you through the process. Again, even though I'm not an attorney, I have tons of resources to basically help people, refer them to right. And I'm glad at this point in time, I don't think that you need an attorney. And what makes me upset is that when I know that it's small claims court, if you're not going to get back the legal fees, you got to be careful of the money that you're spending just to get back $1,000 or $500. That's why luckily small claims court up to the 10 grand, if not maybe a little more, which I'll double check later today. But at least that you have some type of relief, and hopefully we can get you some justice. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for coming on the problem solver.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.